Let's talk about one of the most dreaded parts of writing a paper, the MLA Works Cited page. Seriously, if you've ever felt totally lost trying to figure out citations, you are in the right place. Stick with me because by the end of this, you're going to have a super simple system to cite pretty much any source you can find. I promise.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the why behind all this, using a really simple analogy. Then, I'll show you the universal formula that works for any source. After that, we'll actually practice with some common examples, cover the final formatting rules, and wrap up by looking at the bigger picture of why any of this actually matters.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the citation sandwich. Before we get into any of the nitty-gritty rules, we have to understand why we're even doing this. And trust me, this one little analogy is going to make the whole thing click.
If you've ever stared at a works cited page and just felt your brain start to shut down, yeah, you're not alone. It can look like this impossible list of weird punctuation and rules. But what if I told you it's actually way, way simpler than it seems? This is it. This is the whole idea. That little citation in parentheses in your essay, that's the top piece of bread. All it does is point your reader to the bottom piece of bread, the full, detailed entry on your works cited page. You can't have one without the other. It's just a simple, connected system designed to show your reader exactly where you got your info. So, how do you actually build that full citation, that bottom piece of the sandwich? Well, that brings us to Section 2 and what I like to call the secret weapon of MLA 9, the core elements. This is a universal formula that works for almost any source you'll ever find. Think of this like a recipe with just 9 ingredients. You just go right down the list. We start with who created it, the author. Then, what is it called? The title of the source. Next up, where did you find it? That's the title of the container. Now, a container is just the bigger thing that holds your source. Like a website holding a web page or a journal holding an article. Then we have other contributors, the version, and the number. And we finish it off with the publisher, the publication date, and finally, the location. Location could be page numbers in a book or, a URL for a website. And that's it. That's the whole list. 9 simple things to look for. This awesome graphic from the Purdue Owl shows it perfectly. It's just a template with 9 slots. Your job isn't to memorize 100 different rules for 100 different sources. Nope. It's just to find these 9 pieces of info for whatever source you're looking at. And here is the absolute best part, the real magic of this system. If your source doesn't have one of these things, like maybe there's no author listed or no version number, you just skip it. You just leave it blank and move on to the next one. It's a totally flexible fill-in-the-blanks system. Okay, theory is great, but let's put this template to the test. In this section, we're going to see how this one simple formula can handle 3 really different but super common types of sources. First up, the classic scholarly journal article. This is the bread and butter of academic research. So let's break one down. So check this out. We just go down our list. We found the author, Goldman, Anne. The title of the article itself, that's our title of source. The journal it was published in, the Georgia Review, that's our container. We just skip elements 4 and 5 because they don't apply here. Then we find the volume and issue number, the publication date, and finally, the page numbers for the location. And when we plug all those pieces into our template with the right punctuation, there you go. A perfect, beautiful MLA 9 citation. No guessing, no stress. Okay, next, let's try something a little trickier. A website where you can't find a person's name as the author. This happens all the time, right? So what do? It's simple. We just skip element 1, the author, and we start with element 2, the title of the web page. Then the name of the whole website becomes our container. We grab the publication date, and the URL is our location. Easy. And you can see how it works out. The title just moves to the front of the line. Oh, and see that access date at the end? That's actually optional in MLA 9, but it's a really good habit, especially for websites, since web pages can change or disappear. All right, for our last example, let's try a modern source, a YouTube video. Can our 9 core elements really handle this? You bet they can. Okay, so here the person speaking is our author. The title of the video is our title of source. The platform itself, YouTube, is the container, and this is a perfect time to use the other contributors element. We can give credit to the channel that uploaded it. We add the date, the URL for the location, and we are good to go. And there it is, a clean, complete citation for a YouTube video, built with the exact same template we used for that scholarly article. That right there is the power of this system. So just a quick note on that last element, location. The main thing to remember is this. For print sources, it's usually page numbers, which tells you a physical spot in a book. But for web sources, it's a URL or a DOI, which is basically a permanent digital address to help your reader find the exact same thing online. All right, moving on to Section 4, formatting your works cited page. Now that you know how to build the entries, let's put the final professional polish on the page itself. These are the 4 simple rules for a perfect-looking works cited page. First, start a new page and just center the title Works Cited at the top. Second, double-space the entire thing, no extra spaces between entries. Third, alphabetize your entries. And last, use a hanging indent. That's where the second line of each entry is indented, and it makes it super easy for your reader to scan down that left margin and see all the authors.
Okay, for our last section, I want to zoom out for a second. Because, honestly, mastering MLA isn't just about following rules. It's about something way bigger and way cooler.
This right here is the whole philosophy. The goal isn't to make you jump through a bunch of arbitrary hoops. It is to create a clear, simple map so that anyone reading your work can find your sources, understand your evidence, and see how your ideas fit into a larger academic world. You're actually helping your reader. So the next time you have to create a works cited page, don't think of it as a chore. Think of it as your entry ticket. You're showing your readers the incredible conversation you've been listening to, and you're inviting them to join you. So the real question is, what amazing conversation are you going to start?